Jai Sriman Narayan. Jai Sriman Narayan. Jai Sriman Narayan. I pay my obeisances to my spiritual master, Srimad Jagat Guru Sudarshan Acharya Ji Maharaj. I pay my obeisances to Lord Sri Ramanuj. I pay my obeisances to the Purva Acharyas. I pay my obeisances to the 12 Alvars. I pay my obeisances to Mother Lakshmi. And I pay my obeisances to Lord Sriman Narayan. I welcome all of you to the 4th day of the celebrations in the month of the Ramanujans. I welcome those of you that are seated here tonight at the Sri Narayan Dham. I welcome those that are watching this discourse locally, nationally and internationally, and I welcome those in advance that's going to be watching this discourse when it is posted in the various groups from around the world. We continue with our ongoing topic from yesterday, and yesterday we stated that Vedanta in Sanskrit means end of knowledge. And we concluded that if Vedanta is end of knowledge, then all the knowledge taken together should coherently conclude in one philosophy. And we also concluded that it is both logical and commonsensical that at the end, or in a conclusion, the conclusion must be unitary and not diversified. Vedanta has 3 sets of authoritative scriptures, and they are the Vedas, starting from the Karma Kanda and ending in the Brahma Kanda, which means that the Vedas taken in its entirety. Then there is, which includes the 108 Upanishads. Then the Bhagavad Gita and the Brahma Sutras. These are the 4 authorities that dictate the constitution of Sanatan Dharma. These 4 authorities dictate the constitution of Sanatan Dharma. The Vedas and the Upanishads are revealed injunctions. The Vedas, comprising of the Upanishads, are revealed injunctions. The Bhagavad Gita is spoken by Lord Sri Krishna, and it encompasses a summary on all Vedic knowledge. The Brahma Sutras clarify seeming contradictions within the Upanishads. And I'm stating seeming contradictions. The compiler of the entire set of the Vedas is Dvaipanya Krishna, and compiler means Vyasa, or compiler translated to Sanskrit will mean Vyasa. So Veda Vyasa means the compiler of the Vedas. There is one compiler that compiles all of the Vedas. It is only Valmiki's Ramayana which is compiled by Valmiki himself. This makes all Vedic knowledge absolute. The Bhagavad Gita cross-references adequately Valmiki's Ramayana, the Brahma Sutras, the Upanishads, and the Vedas. The Vedas is quite clear in expressing the singular philosophy, and that philosophy of the Vedas subsequently, after being re-established by Lord Sri Ramanuj, came to be known as Vishishtadvaita. The Vedas only expound this singular philosophy, which is called Vishishtadvaita. The Vedas is the entire library of information that exists in this material universe. And whenever there is a storehouse of knowledge, then that storehouse of knowledge have to have an institution for its dissemination. Whenever there is a storehouse of knowledge, then there has to be an institution, an authorized and authentic institution which has capacity to disseminate that particular knowledge. Again, I want to reiterate that the Vedas, which in English means knowledge, is the essence and breadth of Lord Sriman Narayan. Lord Sriman Narayan is absolute. His essence and knowledge is also absolute. And for him to have this knowledge compiled, he himself incarnated as Dvaipanya Krishna, the Veda Vyas of this current age. And then to show mankind how this knowledge must be utilized, he himself incarnated and acted or enacted the Ramayana, his Leela in the Ramayana of Valmiki and the Mahabharata, where he incarnated as Lord Shri Krishna. So the knowledge is absolute. The compilation of the knowledge is absolute, and the enactment of the Vedic injunctions is also absolute, because Lord Narayan did all three. Lord Narayan did all three. And if we ponder why Lord Narayan did all three himself, is because anyone that exists in the material universe as individual souls is not absolute. And hence, the Supreme Lord, to maintain and contain the absolute streaming of the truth, the absolute streaming of the truth, which is his essence, he had to compile it and also to enact it. This institution that Lord Sriman Narayan sourced from himself is called the Sri Sampradaya. The Sri Sampradaya did not start 1000 years ago when Lord Sri Ramanuj took his birth. The Sri Sampradaya is eternal. The Sri Sampradaya is eternal, and the institution of Sanatan Dharma is eternal. Eternal means existing without change continuously. Eternal means existing without change continuously. Therefore, the knowledge that is the essence of Lord Narayan has to exist in the same form that it was compiled in and in the same form that it was enacted in without change. For this is not material knowledge, this is spiritual knowledge, and spiritual knowledge is transcendental and eternal. So this knowledge cannot change. And it is for this reason that Lord Sriman Narayan incarnated himself and compiled and enacted this knowledge so that there is no deviation from the essence, which is Lord Sriman Narayan himself. This knowledge and the institution that is eternal comprises of Lord Sriman Narayan as the source, Mother Lakshmi as the first recipient and Guru, then Vishwaksena, then Sri Satakopa or Namalvar, then Srimannatha Muni, then Manakal Nambi, and then Ramanuj Acharya, and then Periya Nambi, and finally Lord Sri Ramanuj 1,000 years ago. So this is the authorized stream of knowledge. This is the authorized stream of knowledge that exists eternally within the Sri Sampradaya, the principal institution of Vedic knowledge. The principal institution of Vedic knowledge. And I want to conclude this segment by quoting directly from Lord Sri Ramanuj's Vedanta Sangraha. And I'm quoting from verse 47. And I quote as follows: the Veda, Rik, Yajus, Saman and Atharvan, branching forth thousandfold, beginningless and endless in its unbroken tradition, embodying the ultimate truth, is the basis of philosophical knowledge. Full stop. This, in all its three sections, namely, injunctions, explanation and hymns, is supported and interpreted by the Itihasas, Puranas, and Dharma Shastras, composed by the great sages like Bhagwan Dvaipanya, Parashara, Valmiki, Manu, Yajnavalkya, Gautama, and Apastamba, who have attained the direct vision of the Supreme Brahman. This body of transcendental knowledge, interpreted and augmented in the supplementary sacred texts of these perfect sages, is the final authority. I'm going to quote one more. Verse 130. Verse 130 of the Vedanta Sangraha of Lord Sri Ramanuj. The philosophical approach developed herein is one that has been presented by the Vedas, whose import has been clearly revealed by the ancient commentaries on the Vedas and Vedanta, and has been unanimously adopted by the great ones like Bhagavan Bodhayana, Tanka, Dramida, Guhadeva, Kapardin, and Barusi. By this, the extraverdic schools of thoughts like those of Karvaka, Sakya, Olakya, Aksapada, Sapanaka, Kapila, and Patanjali, along with schools of some followers of the Vedas whose vision is perverted, are refuted. And just two sentences from verse 131, that even the followers of the Vedas who take a wrong view of things are to be judged on a footing of equality with the non-Vedic thinkers, has been laid down by Manu himself. Full stop. He says, the Smritis that are non-Vedic and the views that are perverse are futile, being established in tamas. Full stop. Only those who have sattva uncontaminated by rajas and tamas as the innate propensity has a taste for the Vedas and the understanding of the real contents of the Vedas. So I read these two verses of the Vedanta Sangraha of Lord Sri Ramanuj when he re-established the Vedas 1,000 years ago. I'm going to continue with this topic at the same time tomorrow evening. Jai Shriman Narayan.